Ekabo, welcome to Inside Oyotunji in Cyberspace. I'm Igberohinjade and Ekuodun 2007. The chiefs, priests, and elders of North America's oldest authentic African village gathered as per tradition on the first day of the new year to consult the oracle of Ifa. The Oluwo, the eldest priest in our village, is also the head of the Society of Babalawos, the fathers of secrets, the diviners of destiny. As most people are already aware, the world and the United States face some awesome challenges this year, not just with politics and money, but also the safety and sustainable living of our families and loved ones. Here with a commentary on this year's divination is the Chief Ajamu.
My name is Chief Adenibi Ajamu. Presently, I am the Oluwo Fun Oyotunji, and also act as the foreign minister. Every year in Oyotunji, on the first day of the year, we cast the Ifa reading on the world, the United States, African Americans, and then more personally for our community here in Oyotunji. I wanted to, before talking about what the reading predicted, I think for those that may not know, we didn't always have Ifa since we've been in this movement, this Yoruba Restoration movement. We started Oyotunji in 1970. We didn't have Ifa then. Prior to that, African Americans knew that there was Ifa, had somewhat of a definition for it, but we really didn't have access to it like traditional Yoruba would. If I remember correctly, before 1971, most of the people that knew about Orisha and were practitioners, there was one Babalawo in New York, I think his name was Pancho Moore Baratoon. And anybody that wanted advice or wanted to use Ifa in any way, that's where they went. Later on, we found out there was an African-Cuban gentleman in Miami, Juan Candela, was also a Shango priest, who had also went to Ifa. Prior to that, if there were others, I don't know. I think there was another African-Cuban gentleman named Delphine, I believe was his name. He was also in New York. And then when our founder, His Royal Highness Afontula, went to Nigeria in 1971 with a group of Ghanaians. But when he got there, he said, well, I couldn't get to West Africa without going in search of Ifa. He wound up in Abeokuta. And there he was able to go to what we call Igberohinjade, which is a sacred place where Babalawos go for that kind of initiation. He went to Igberohinjade there and came back, so you can imagine how we felt in those early days when he came back with Ifa, and that's where we started. It's important to know lots of people that have been doing divination with D-Lo goons for many years. Many people are able to move into initiation into Ifa, and they approach Ifa the same way that they dealt with D-Lo goon divination. I'm afraid it's a little bit different, because when we look at Ifa, we look at each Odu is an experience on the earth. The stories, or the pataki as we call them, that accompany that particular Ifa verse. There's 256 of them. is a record, kind of when people have tried this somewhere in the past on the earth. Might have been thousands of years ago, and what happened? That's why to go to Ephi and right away hear all the terrible things that had happened when people walk through this experience, they turn around and say, well, what is the eyeball so we can do it? That's silly. That's silly. Some things you just want to do the eyeball, if Ephi says so, and keep on moving. You don't even want to go into that.
The reading is done here at Oyotunji on January 1st of each year. And we understand the reading for this year for the world was Obara Foon.
All right, now, that's a good example of what we were talking about earlier. Obara Foon gives us an indication of what is this experience. The experience is Obara Foon. That's what's going to be happening in the world in, 2007. Obara Foon, it indicates that everybody's going to want to be top dog. There's going to be a struggle for that. And people are going to, incidentally, is this coming on the E-Ray or the
the
EB?
other side.
The other side,
The other side being Ofun Kara.
So it says that Obara Foon, in Obara Foon, everybody's going to be struggling for position. Everybody's going to want to be at the head of it. Everybody's going to want to be in charge. And it's going to be a bitter and very staunch is not the word.
Contentious?
But a very bitter battle. Everybody's going to want to stand their position. Nobody's going to want to move. People are going to stand rigidly in their position that they are, top dog. That's just a little bit about that old dude. So we can look for that on the world. As we begin to see it unveiled, then we'll recognize it. We won't be surprised. We shouldn't be surprised when we see it.
So there's likely to be frustration in this
Certainly. There's always that kind of frustration when you can't get anybody to back down off their position. Because it seems like it'll be a deaf ear to anybody trying to say anything like, even slightly suggest like, well, you're not running this, you're not in charge, you're not. It's going to be that kind of situation.
Right, and the methods used to solve these disputes will be rather...
The message will be to avoid them.
No, the methods.
Oh, the methods.
To resolve...
Will be very harsh. Very harsh. You're also going to find a conflict between, I guess what we call in this country, elected or legitimate political figures and those that, maybe the elders that have the wisdom, that might not necessarily be in public office or be running anything politically, but they will want to shed some different kind of knowledge on it.